Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about your personal brand. We're going to talk about why it's important to your career, why it's important to even have one. I'm going to go over the 3 parts to the personal brand and a couple of ways to utilize it to enhance your career. And we're going to have a couple of bonus tips at the end to really nail the effect home. Let's go. Your personal brand is really your elevator pitch for what you want people to know and remember about you when they first think of you or when they revisit thinking of you in the future. It's really the summary of your actions that you have in your resume bubbled to a business value that you provide them. High level, broad statement of what the value is I want to provide. So for my personal brand, part 1 is this. I lead engineering and compliance products at scale, focusing on cost efficiency, schedule adherence, and risk reduction. So then part 2 is really about your strengths or your superpowers, or it's the how you get that done. It's my strengths include analyzing complex situations at the individual project and organizational level, breaking them down into actionable project plans with measurable impact success criteria, then leading and negotiating to successful execution and conclusion. And then part 3 of your personal brand is really something else that you think is specific to you, sets you apart, and is really kind of the catch-all. And it could be a number of things. It could be certain certifications that you have. It could be that you can work on sensitive government projects. It could be that you know certain specific coding languages. But then for me, since I am a people leader, strong people leader, successfully building and growing diverse teams as evidenced by low attrition with ongoing team responsibility growth. And so when you put them all together, and I'm not going to read through it again, I'll flash it on the screen, it really then becomes your personal branding statement. So then let's talk about why this branding statement is important and how you can use it. Number 1, I've seen people put their brand, the statement, at the top of their resumes. So when somebody's looking at their resume, the first thing they see is their statement of value, the strengths that they will want to bring based on their brand, as well as some pertinent information that may be buried somewhere way deeper that might be really good. The second way I've seen it used is really in interviews or with people that you meet during an interview. A lot of people will ask you, so what do you do? And when you tell them, you can have much more complete answer about where you work. This is kind of what I do. I manage and lead projects at scale, or whatever the case is for your personal brand. And then that allows you to have a much more confident answer. And the third way really is a bit more informally as you're networking, is a lot of people will ask you kind of what you do. And instead of saying, well, I work for X company on this project, you can say, well, I work for X company and I work on a project where I lead engineering and compliance products at scale, focusing on cost efficiency, schedule adherence, and risk reduction. If you're finding what you're hearing useful to you, I'd really appreciate you hitting the like button. And if you want to hear more, put out new topics about every week, please feel free to subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll get notified when I put new topics out. So now on to the bonus tips. There are 2 of them really that can nail this home. The first one, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, is to go ahead and memorize it. Memorize your personal brand statement to where you can regurgitate it out very confidently, smoothly, and easily. You really won't believe how many times you can use it when you're asked, hey, what do you do? Or tell me about your strengths. It's really good to have that kind of scripted out for you because you don't really want to be thinking about it and appear to not know what you believe your value is or the strengths that you have. Bonus tip number 2 is a little bit more complicated. And what it comes down to is scripting, and I do mean scripting, out 2 to 4 specific examples of successes that you've had that really drive home the value that you provide. So I'm talking about your STAR examples, and I do mean STAR, and that's a technique that we use. This is a well-known technique. It's called either SAR or STAR, but in this case, it's situation or task, the actions that you took to remediate the situation or task, and then the business results that you've had at the end of the day. And why it's really important to really script these out is because you don't want to waver and miss something that would have been valuable to point out as you highlight this example against your brand. And so I'm going to use one example that I've used in the past for mine and how I broke it out for myself. So the situation was our product releases were routinely 3 to 4 months behind schedule, causing trust issues with leadership and customers, as well as impacting the overall schedule as slips ate into later sprints. An engineering problem, basically. So that's the situation. So the tasks or actions that I took were, on my own initiative, I reviewed and analyzed the last 4 releases. Through technical review, identified that certain feature teams were introducing complex regressions. Based on this bug and regression test data sets as proof, I designed and implemented a new code flow schedule with specific testing gates and schedules to remove potential regressions before mainline introduction. I also developed a contingency plan to ensure that each team did not develop too large a code package if they missed the weekly merge, to reduce potential merge conflicts with large code packages. This required negotiating with multiple senior leader level development managers to change their code flow by reducing their check-ins to once a week versus daily, and introduce new gates in a different test. That's pretty long, I know, but I wanted to include it to show you the level of detail that's valuable to have. I covered a number of different areas with that. I covered negotiation with senior leaders, designing new processes, at scale, multiple managers, and then, of course, the business results, the R at the end. With 3 development cycles, product releases were hitting the schedule 3 to 4 weeks versus months, and teams were not routinely introducing blocking regressions, which would slip the release. Just an example, apologies for the length, but I really wanted to show you the amount of detail that's valuable to then really nail home what your personal brand is that you're looking to have people remember about you. So I hope that's a good overview of personal branding. And if you have your own way of doing personal branding, I'd love for you to put it down in the comments. I know others would really like to see other examples of how people deal and manage their personal brand. Until next time.